Brothers and sisters, sometimes the salaf would die. Like there's story, narrations of men from the salaf who died due to the fear of the hellfire. Died, they dropped dead. They used to collapse. Fudail ibn Iyad rahimullah was one time praying, and his son Ali ibn Fudail was praying behind him. And he started reciting ayat in reference to the hellfire. And his son in the background collapsed. He fainted. They took him back to the house. In the middle of the night, he woke up. And Fudail carried on reciting. He wouldn't be able to move past the ayah. He kept talking about the same ayah, just repeating it. You know which ayah killed some people? Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, O anfusakum, save yourselves, wa ahlikum, and your families from the hellfire. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, inshallah the topic that I'm going to be talking about today is the hellfire. The hellfire is the punishment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for those who disobey Him. The hellfire has been prepared not just for the disbelievers. Do not be fooled, my brothers and sisters. Allah has prepared hellfire for even some believers. It's true, the believers will not stay inside of the hellfire for eternity, but they will go there for a period of time. It could be 1,000,000 years, it could be 1,000,000,000 years, it could be 1,000,000,000,000 years. A person will stay, mashallah, as long as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to reside. And we know to even stay in the hellfire for a split second is pain. What is the most minimum punishment a person can experience in the hellfire? The Prophet ﷺ told us it is for a person to be wearing sandals made out of fire that are so hot that it will cause his brain to boil and bubble. And that being the weakest, most minor punishment in the hellfire, it's already reserved. It's already taken. The Prophet said, and that will be, he said he hopes that will be for his uncle Abu Talib, who died as a kafir. Despite all the support that he did for Islam, he died as a disbeliever. So anyone else who gets a punishment in the hellfire is going to be after that. The person is going to receive a punishment that's greater than that, because that's the minimum and it's already been taken. And bear in mind that for a person to be a Muslim, as per the strongest view and the consensus, the unanimous agreement amongst the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum ajma'een, is that a person must be praying every single prayer. Missing one prayer takes you outside the fold of Islam. Imam al-Tirmidhi rahimahullah narrated his consensus from Abdullah ibn Shaqiq rahimahullah. He said that the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum were unanimously in agreement that a person will become a disbeliever if he leaves the prayer. So many people walking around with this, I'm Muslim, don't know they've already reserved their place in the hellfire because they don't pray. It's a very serious issue. I feel like we don't realize the threat of hellfire enough. We don't realize that, brothers and sisters. We don't realize how real this is. And that's either because you're a person who you're swimming in hope. You're swimming in hope. You heard that Allah is merciful. You heard that Allah is forgiving. So you took Allah for granted. You took Allah for granted. Barakallahu feek. Imam Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah mentioned something powerful. He said, don't think Allah is weak. Like, you know when you see a dad, or you see, for example, like a judge, he's about to punish someone, a prisoner, a thief, a criminal, but then the person starts crying, tears. So the judge, even though he's done a crime, he feels sadness for this person. So what does he do? He lessens his punishment, or he forgives. That's not praiseworthy. That's weakness. That's a lack of justice. Ibn al-Jawzi said, don't think Allah, His mercy and His forgiveness is like that. Allah is not weak. If a person disobeyed Allah, and on the day of judgment you come before Him, you better believe that if Allah wills, He's going to punish you. And you can scream and you can shout, you can cry. You can cry tears of blood. You can cry rivers of blood. You can cry oceans of blood. But if Allah wants to punish you, He's going to punish you. And there's no one in the face of this planet that's going to be able to help you. Not your mum, not your dad. Rather, your own mum and dad will say, Allah, take him to the fire and save me. Allah said, you will see on that day that a criminal will wish, a criminal will hope, a criminal will want what? For his own son to go to the hellfire so he could be saved. وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَأَخِيهِ. A person will wish, take my wife. Ya Allah, take my wife. Burn her, roast her, toast her in the hellfire, save me. Take my brother, burn him in the hellfire, save me. Rather, وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Every single person on this planet, every single person on this planet, this person will hope Allah burn everyone. My mum, my dad, the imam, the sheikh, every Muslim, every kafir. Take them, Ya Rab, save me. That's the day that we're talking about. No one's going to help you. So why is it that we live in life as if we're safe? Why is it that we live in life like we're free? For that reason, I've chosen to narrow down my topic of discussion today to the importance of fearing the hellfire. Because we can talk about the angels in the hellfire. We can talk about the punishments in the hellfire. The rivers of pus that you're going to have to eat from. You don't get no Coca-Cola in hellfire. You don't get no water. You get pus. Pus you're going to have to drink. Where that pus come from? It comes from the wounds. You know when you get punished, tortured, you bleed. Right? So the pus is going to come out the wounds of the people who are being punished in the hellfire. And that's what you're going to have to drink. You're going to get scalding hot water. Scalding hot water. You know, imagine in the heat. Imagine in the heat how hot it is. But in that heat, it's going to be 70 times more, as the hadith of the Prophet said. That fire burns hard. That fire burns 70 times hotter than anything that we know on the face of this earth. So you're going to be thirsty, no doubt. You'll be given something to drink, hamim, a boiling, scalding hot water that will be so hot, it will scald, it will melt, it will destroy, it will burn your insides as you drink. It will burn. But you know what, check this, there's a deeper punishment. You know when you drink the hamim, you're going to get burnt, right? So now a smart person's going to do what? He's going to say, I'm not going to drink anymore. But in the hellfire, you know, part of the punishment is that you can't help but still drink. You know when someone's thirsty, just the thirst, in and within itself is so painful that it makes you want to take something. Makes you want to drink something. So you're in the hellfire, you've got this pain in your neck, you've got this thirst, you're like, let me drink. And then it burns you inside. You're like, oh my days, let me stop drinking. But then you have to go back and drink because your throat is dying. It wants something to go inside. I'm saying we can talk about all that, but I don't even want to talk about the description of the hellfire. I just want to talk to you about the importance of being scared, my brothers and sisters. The importance of being scared of the hellfire. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala connected being scared of the hellfire to entering paradise. Allah connected being scared of the hellfire to entering paradise. Allah said, هذه جهنم التي يكذب بها المجرمون يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah, look, pay attention. This is Surah Al-Rahman. Surah Al-Rahman, who knows? What's this surah about? It's about what? Yeah, it's about the blessings and the favors of Allah, right? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? Look at the power of this ayah. Allah said, هذه جهنم التي يكذب بها المجرمون يطوفون بينها وبين حميم آن. Allah said, this is the hellfire. This is the hellfire. Allah's talking to the ones who are going to enter into it. This is the hellfire. The one that you criminals used to deny. The one that you used to say, this is not real. I'm not going to see this. I'm going to be safe. Nothing's going to happen to me. You're going to go around it. You're going to be burnt in it. You're going to drink hamim in it. Straight to it, Allah tells you what? فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. He says, which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? Let's take it a step back now, brothers and sisters. Is this a favor? Is this Allah favoring us? He's saying you're going to go to the hellfire. Is that a favor? We understand before. The whole surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning favors to you. And he's saying, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? He keeps saying that. He talks to you about Jannah. He tells you about the women in Jannah. He tells you about the fruits in Jannah. He tells you about all these things in Jannah. Which of the favors of your Lord can you deny? But now Allah talks about hell. And he still says that. How is hell a favor? I'm asking you a question. Anybody know? The answer is, Imam Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali rahimahullah explains in his Takhweef min al-Nar, it's a blessing for the believer who feared it. Because you feared it, you were safe from it. A believer can make it to paradise because of the hellfire. Because he feared the hellfire so much. That's why Allah said right after that, وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. The one who feared the station of his Lord, he was scared of Allah. He will have Jannah, Jannatan. He will have two Jannahs. He will have two Jannahs. In Surah Al-Tur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He explains paradise. He explains what people will have to eat in paradise, the relationships in paradise. Allah mentions the family members that you'll be reunited with in paradise. Allah mentions the drinks that you'll be served and whatnot. And then straight away Allah, He tells you what? He wants to give you an insight. Allah Azza wa Jal, look at His rahmah. He wants to show you how to get to Jannah. So He tells you a conversation taking place in paradise between the people of paradise. And what is this question? فَأَقْبَلَ بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضِ يَتَسَاءَلُونَ. They ask one another. People in Jannah, they're chilling in Jannah. They're on their couches, their thrones. They got their drinks. They're sipping on that pure drink. On that pure sweet drink. They're sipping away. They got their family around them. They're chilling. And then they say, yo, how did you get here? What did you do? What did you do? And then they respond. They said, when we were with our families, we used to be scared. When we were with our families, we used to be in a state of fear. That's how we made it to paradise. Imam Hassan al-Basri, rahimahullah, he mentioned, this ayah is an indicator for you of where you're going to be. And ultimately Allah knows. No one's saying that this is set in stone, but if you want a litmus test, if you want a falsification test, are you min ahli al-jannah? Are you from the people of paradise? Or are you from the people of the hellfire? This is a way you can test yourself, my sisters and my brothers. Ask yourself, when you're with your families, are you scared? We're not scared. When we're with our families and friends, that's when we're joking. When we're with our families and friends, what are we doing? Chilling. We're not scared. And this is not a characteristic from the people of paradise. The ones who are not scared were the people of hellfire. So why don't we let some fear enter into our lives? Yazid ibn Murthid, rahimahullah, was a man who used to cry excessively. One day, one man asked him, why do you cry so much? And he said, because obviously he doesn't want to talk about his private righteous actions. He wants to be sincere. So he says, why are you asking me? And the man says, I'm asking you because I might benefit from what you say to me. It might touch me, it might make me cry. He said, my brother, if Allah threatened to place me inside of a toilet for the rest of eternity, I would cry like this forever. What about if Allah threatened to place me in the hellfire for all of eternity? That's why I'm crying. And he turned around and he asked him another question. He said, are you always like this? Are you always in a state of fear? He said, I'm always in a state of fear. So much so that when I try to eat food, I get so scared that I can't eat my food. He said, so much so that when I try to go to sleep at night, I can't sleep at night. And this was the condition of many of the salaf. They would lie down in their bed. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, I would lie down in my bed. And suddenly I'd remember the hellfire. So I'd get up. He said, I'd get up. Qumtu. What? Start praying. Start praying, because the salaf would say that a person who truly wants to escape the hellfire, he doesn't sleep at night. And the person who truly wants paradise, he don't sleep at night either. How is a place in hellfire possibly destined for you and we're sleeping? So he mentioned, when I try to go sleep at night, I can't sleep at night. He said, furthermore, when I go to my wife, I want to be intimate to my wife. I don't make love to my wife. This is the one time no one's scared. This is the one time you're in the zone. You're going to go to your wife. You're going to be intimate with her. Your desires are high. He says, the reminder of the hellfire comes to me and I'm not able to even be intimate with my wife. He says, so much so got to a point that my wife, she cries, my children, they cry and they say, woe to us. We have not enjoyed even a moment because of your excessive fear. This is what the salaf were like. Does that mean you're in a state of fear and there's no hope? No, we know that's not correct, because a person needs to worship Allah with hope and fear. With hope and fear. Ibn Rajab al-Hanbali rahimahullah explains in the book Takhweef min al-Nar, the same book I've got in front of me. He say a person who worships Allah purely on fear, what happens to him? He becomes like ISIS. He's a Khariji. He's going to go blow you up. He's going to say the only way for me to rectify my situation, I have to blow myself up. And I don't know how that leaves him to the perverted belief that I've got to kill other people. I've got to do more sins. But that's what happens. That's the way Shaitan plays with you. But then what about a person who worships Allah only on hope? The people that say, don't worry, don't judge me, it's between me and Allah. He said that person is a murji. Do you know what a murji is? It's going to be long to explain, but basically it's a person who's from the sects that are not from Ahlul Sunnah. It's from the sects that are going to enter the hellfire. It's one of those people, they believe even Abu Jahl is a Muslim. From them people, wallah, it's true. That's what it leads you to. If you say you don't know what's in my heart, do I know what's in Abu Jahl's heart? First of all, do I know what's in Shaitan's heart? Shaitan's a Muslim too then, bro. Then he said, you know, you get them people who say, I worship Allah based on love. Like the Christians, they say God is love. God is love. You got Muslims saying that as well now. They say Allah is love. Wallahi, I've seen it. I'm not proud. Since when did you join the church? Allah is love. He said, this person is zindiq. You know what a zindiq is? These are evil people. These are the people who they pretend to be Muslim, but inside they want to destroy Islam. They want to destroy Islam. We've got quite a few of them around nowadays online. Zanadiqa. They don't even love Allah. They just tell you love Allah so they can play. He said, rather a true believer, one of Tawheed, is one who worships Allah with fear, one who worships Allah with hope, and one who worships Allah with love. But how do you balance between them? Imam Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah, rather I think it's Fudayl ibn Iyad, rahimahullah. Fudayl ibn Iyad, rahimahullah, said that a person should have fear for his whole life. But not complete fear, there should always be hope. But what should be the majority? Fear. Fear should always be the majority. The whole life, you got hope and fear. But as you live, fear is more. But if you know the person's on his deathbed, he's dying, she's dying, now the hope takes over. There's not full hope, there's still fear, but there's more hope now. Because at the last minute, you don't want the person to despair. You want him to have good assumptions of Allah. Allah said, I am as my servant, thinkers of me. So you think of Allah good, and you remind the person, remember the good that you did, Allah's going to have mercy on you. You remind them of the good. So what is it? You always have hope and fear. You never have one or the other. But during your life, you have what? More fear than hope. And then when it comes close to the end of your life, you have more hope than fear. Brothers and sisters, this issue of fear is serious, wallahi. The ulama, they say that the default position of the believer should be fear. And the Muslim should be in a state of fear all the time. And the reason why Allah put the verses of mercy in the Quran was why? So that, you know, when you're in such a state of fear that you feel like your soul is going to jump out of your body, you suddenly read an ayah where Allah says, what? He mentions Ar-Rahman. Yeah, Allah mentions Ar-Rahman. The verse is to do with Rahmah. And then straight away what happens? You calm down. You calm down, because if you didn't calm down, you would have probably died. Your soul would have jumped out your body. But then that feeling kind of leaves. That feeling of that hope disappears, and you go back to your original default position, because you come back to the, you know, when I stand before Allah, my grave, the day of judgment, the angel of death. How's it going to come to me? Am I going to die upon La ilaha illallah? Am I going to die upon kufr? Or did I sin? You go back to the fear, accounting yourself, worried. You go back to that state, and then what do? You calm down. You come across another hadith about mercy. So you calm down. Because if you didn't calm down at that point, you would have gone. You would have gone. But look, us, it's the other way around. Our default position is hope. And every now and again we come to a lecture like this and we get scared. Then we go home and then hope again. And then the default position is hope. And when you're in that state, what? You're going to sin, wallahi. When you're always just hope, you're going to sin. They say, oh, don't worry, I'm going to do this, Allah's going to forgive me. And then you're going to watch a video online, little reminder, it's going to scare you. But it should be the other way around. It should be that I should always be in a state of fear. And then every now and again, we need to hear something about Jannah, bro. I need to hear like some Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Afu, Al-Ghafur. I need to hear about these names of Allah. And then I'm going to go back to my fear. But we're not like that. It's problematic. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah, a man came to him and he said, what is more beloved to you? A man who died as a martyr. He gave his blood and his wealth and his life for what? Dying for the sake of Allah. Or a man who worships Allah with fear. This is more beloved to me than a man who worships Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with fear than even a martyr. And we all know the station, the rank of a martyr. Brothers and sisters, wallahi, pay attention. Sahaba radiyallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, were they people promised paradise? Were they people paradise? Let me ask you a question. Was Umar ibn Khattab promised paradise? I'm asking you a question. Was Umar ibn Khattab promised paradise?
Yes.
Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, look what he used to say. He used to say, if a caller called from the sky, if Allah made someone make an announcement in the sky, and then that announcer said, every single one of you is going to go to paradise, except for one man. He said, I would think that that one man is me. Only one person's going to go hell. He said, I would think that's me. Allah sent down ayat in the Quran referring to Umar. In taking the stance that Umar took, radiyallahu anhu. A man, the Prophet himself promised paradise. He said, he said, I saw your house in Jannah. Your women were there, Umar. Uthman, was Uthman radiyallahu anhu promised paradise? He was a man that the angels were scared of. Were shy of. The angels were shy of. The Prophet would be shy of him. Are angels shy of you and me? Angels were shy of this man. The Prophet said, if I had 100 daughters, I would marry my daughters to Uthman. He married one daughter, she died, he married his other daughter back to him. That was Uthman. Look at what this man said, radiyallahu anhu. He said, if I was placed in between paradise and in between hellfire, he said, I would not know which one I'm going to be in. And he would say, if I had a choice at that time, I would choose to be destroyed on the spot. I don't even want Jannah, just take me away. That's what these people were like. Have you all heard of Umar ibn Abdul Aziz? Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, who was from the descendant, the grandchildren of Umar ibn Khattab. He was the first mujaddid of this ummah. Wallahu a'lam, like he was a great man. A scholar, an alim, a reviver. You know how long he was Khalifa of the Muslims for? Just 2 years. Read his history. Just 2 years. You know what killed him? It was narrated what killed him was an illness that he endured due to fear. Wallahi, many of the salaf, brothers and sisters, would become sick, would become ill, just because of what? Just because of the fear. Rather, Umar radiallahu anhu was one time walking past a man at night who was reciting Quran. He was reciting Surah At-Tur, and he came to the ayah where Allah said, إِنَّ عَذَابَ رَبِّكَ لَوَاقِعٌ مَا لَهُ مِن دَافِعٍ. Where Allah said, verily, the punishment of your Lord will happen and no one will be able to turn it away. Umar radiallahu anhu, he became sick. He was taken back to his house. Days went by, he was sick. Brothers and sisters, sometimes the salaf would die. Wallahi, there's story, narrations of men from the salaf who died due to the fear of the hellfire. Died, they dropped dead. They used to collapse. Fudail ibn Iyad rahimullah was one time praying, and his son Ali ibn Fudail was praying behind him. And he started reciting ayat in reference to the hellfire. And his son in the background collapsed. He fainted. They took him back to the house. In the middle of the night, he woke up. And Fudail carried on reciting. He wouldn't be able to move past the ayah. He kept talking about the same ayah, just repeating it. You know which ayah killed some people? Allah said, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, pay attention. O you who believe. O anfusakum, save yourselves. Wa ahlikum, and your families from the hellfire. That ayah caused people to die. Allah says, save yourself, save your families from the hellfire. I'm telling you, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, another companion. Do you know Abdullah ibn Mas'ud? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was the one the Prophet said, if you want to learn the Quran how it came down, go to him. Go to him. Ibn Maktoum. Go to him. Sorry, not Ibn Maktoum. I forgot his kunya, but Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. Go to him. He was the one the Prophet said, his feet, his shins are going to weigh heavier than the mountain of Uhud on the Day of Judgment. That was Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. One time he saw, you know, back in those days you would have ironsmiths. You know what an ironsmith is? You know, you got a goldsmith who deals with gold. You got a blacksmith who deals with metal and whatnot. You had them ironsmiths. The haddadeen, the ones who would have the hadid, and they would put it in the furnace. When they would put it in the furnace, they used to have this thing where they would pump air in it, and then the fire, it roars inside the furnace. And then they would place the metal inside there, the metal would heat. When the metal heats, the metal can bend, and they would make swords and things out of it. One time Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu just looked at the furnace in which they would place the metal. He blew the air into it, the fire roared, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud collapsed. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud collapsed. There were men from the salaf who were standing on the river of the Euphrates. The Euphrates river. Ayat of Jahannam would be recited. One of them slips, he stumbles. He stumbles next to the river. The man carries on reciting, he falls in the river, he drowns, he dies. Brothers and sisters, angels are scared of the hellfire. Why are me and you not scared of the hellfire? The Prophet ﷺ said to Jibreel, he said, Ya Jibreel, you Mikael. You guys know Mikael, right? Jibreel is the highest angel. Then who's the second after Jibreel? Mikael. Mikael is the second best angel. It's not a joke. The Prophet said, Ya Jibreel, why is it that whenever I see Mikael, he doesn't look happy, he never smiles, he never looks lively. He's always serious. Jibreel said that Mikael has never smiled, has never laughed ever since Allah created the hellfire. He's scared Allah might throw him into the hellfire. Brothers and sisters, did you know that the fire in this life itself is scared of the hellfire? Mujahid rahimullah and other from the salaf, they used to say that this fire in this life, the fire in this life is scared of the hellfire. And it asks Allah to protect it from the fire, because that fire is 70 times hotter. How can fire be scared? Brothers and sisters, Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah that there are rocks that are scared. There are rocks that fear. Who promised me and you Jannah? Who promised us paradise? Hatta the Prophet ﷺ himself would seek refuge from the hellfire. Every day, every prayer, he would ask Allah to protect him from falling into the hellfire, to seek refuge from the hellfire. The hadith of Shafa'ah has many different wordings. Many of them show the prophets were scared Allah's going to take them to the hellfire. They will come to Adam and say, Adam, you are the first human being. Allah created you with his hands. Ask Allah to intercede for us. He will say, I was commanded by Allah and I disobeyed him. Today Allah is angry. He's never been angry like this before. He'll never be angry like this again. I am scared. I might get thrown into the hellfire. When Allah said, Kullu ummatin jathiyah, every single nation will kneel. Every nation will fall to their knees on the day of judgment. وَجَاءَ رَبُّكَ مَلَكُ صَفًّا صَفًّا. When Allah, he comes in the day of judgment and the angels come with him, row after row after row. When your Lord comes, everyone is silent. No one speaks. No one speaks. Everyone kneels. Everyone bows. Everyone drops to their knees. Ibn Kathir rahimullah, he brings in here, in his tafsir of that even Ibrahim alayhi salam, he will get scared. Isa alayhi salam will say, Ya Allah, take my mom. Maryam, salamun alayha, the best of women. The one Allah said, that Jibreel said, that Allah has chosen you. وَطَهَّرَكِ, He's purified you. وَاصْطَفَاكِ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ الْعَالَمِينَ, He chose you above all of the women. Isa alayhi salam will say, take her. Jesus will say, take her. What about me and you? I don't want to prolong it, inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instill inside of us the fear of the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from the hellfire. May Allah protect us from the punishment of the grave. May Allah, when it comes for our time of death, give us a good death. Wallahi, brothers and sisters, sometimes, every time I speak and we have a topic like this, I feel like I'm going to get through to the people. Someone here is going to change their life. I don't know though. Most likely it's a weakness in my own iman and sincerity, probably. It's the reason why we're not able to get through to people like we want to. And I might have done a bad job because me, myself, I might be insincere, I might be a sinner. That's why my word doesn't resonate in your heart. But I ask you for your own selves, please, fear Allah. Change your life today. It's not just enough for you to start obeying Allah. You have to obey Allah and worship Him alone in accordance to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Muslims, 73 sects, 72 of them are still going to go hell. You have to be a Sunni Salafi. No one's saying you have to go outside and call yourself Salafi. I know some people don't feel comfortable with that, even though there's nothing wrong with it. And that's a different discussion for a different day. But you have to what? You have to adhere to the Salaf. You're living in a day and age of deception, wallahi. People are trying to strip your religion away from you. This is the time where the Prophet ﷺ told us, be patient. The holding on to this religion is like holding on to hot coal. From another narration, he told us, he said, you'll see me at the hold. We'll see him at the fount. We'll see the Prophet ﷺ, and we'll drink from his hands, inshallah. But we're living in a day and age, we're losing. Wallahi, we're losing. And if you want a long-term solution to your problem, start seeking knowledge. Because fear is what's going to get you into Jannah, right? So the question is, then how does one acquire fear? Allah told you, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ, that the only servants who truly fear Allah are the ones who have knowledge. We study Tawheed, we study Aqeedah, study the Arabic language. Sometimes it seems long, like, oh, I'm going to study Arabic. Like, you're spending years just learning like fi'l, fa'il, maf'ulun bihi. And you're like, what the hell, this make them hard. Sometimes you might think shaitan will come to you. Be patient upon that knowledge. Sometimes you study hadith, you're like, wow, okay, mardud, maqbool, sahih li ghayri, sahih li dhati, hasan li ghayri, hasan li dhati, maqloob, mudraj. You're like, whoa, I'm not even learning what's in the hadith. I'm just learning how to authenticate it. Just be patient. It will come. One day, suddenly the penny will drop. You will read an ayah from the Quran. It will touch you in a way that it never touched you. You will burst into tears. The day the Quran touches you, and that will not come unless you start seeking knowledge of this religion. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.